Hi, all. Varis here with Phototech Tuesday. Each week I'll be posting a new video about photography, technology, art, and more. Today I'm looking at a new AI feature in Adobe Camera Raw and Lightroom, the Adaptive Color Profile. So the Adobe Adaptive Profile is an AI-driven feature introduced in Adobe Camera Raw and Lightroom to enhance images. Unlike traditional profiles that apply uniform settings, Adobe Adaptive analyzes each photo individually, adjusting tones and colors to produce a natural and appealing result. This intelligent profiling acts as if multiple adjustments such as exposure, shadows, highlights, color mixer, and curves have been applied, yet all controls remain in their default 0 positions. The AI model behind Adobe Adaptive has been trained on thousands of hand-edited photos across various subjects. It considers different lighting conditions and times of day to ensure consistent and realistic enhancements. For many images, applying the Adobe Adaptive Profile alone yields results ready for sharing or publishing, reducing the need for extensive manual editing. Overall, the Adobe Adaptive Profile represents a significant advancement in photo editing, leveraging AI to deliver personalized enhancements and streamline workflows for photographers. Let's take a look at how this is implemented in Lightroom. Okay, so here in Lightroom, we just got back from Venice for Carnival, and so of course I have a whole bunch of these costumer images from Venice. Here they are standing right next to the Grand Canal, just across from the Doge's Palace at St. Mark's Square. And what I've got here is a image taken just after the street lights have gone out, so the sun is just starting to come up. There's a little bit of light in the sky, but it's fairly dark, so I have to use a fairly slow shutter speed, and I have an off-camera flash, a ProPhoto A1 speed light with a Fresnel and barn doors, so I can get a very focused light. You can kind of see here that the light is concentrated on the upper portion of these two figures here, and the rest of it is the ambient light. The blur comes from shaking the camera just a little bit, and the flash, since it's instantaneous, it gives us a sharp image with this sort of blur halo around it of the ambient light continuing to expose after the flash goes off. So otherwise they would be fairly dark and shadow. They're about this intensity, and the flash brings up the exposure just a little bit. So when I'm shooting this kind of stuff, mostly I'm concerned with the highlights blowing, because almost all the costumers have these white kind of porcelain masks, and they really kick back a lot of light. So I sort of intentionally underexpose just slightly, just to make sure that I've got some detail in this white mask. So everything's kind of now looking sort of flat and subdued, because I'm, by default, I'm having Lightroom pick up the picture style that I'm using in the camera. And my Fuji cameras, I'm almost always using Eterna, which is a kind of very neutral and soft contrast profile. So for those of you that may be unfamiliar with these profiles which show up here, there's a profile browser here, these little kind of rectangle little boxes over here. If you click on that, you get the profile browser. And as you can see here, my favorites, I've selected certain ones. There's the adaptive color that always shows up. There's an adaptive black and white that shows up. But all of these other profiles affect the color. There's the vivid Velvia, and there's the Eterna, sorry, the Eterna sort of cinema profile that Fuji has developed. And Adobe is using this to adjust the raw file like it was when I shot in the camera. So this is essentially what it looked to me in the camera. And we can choose any of these other profiles. There's a whole bunch of them here. I'm going to, instead, I'm just going to select this drop down, which just got all my my favorites and the default. we have these black and white ones and the color ones here. But the one that I'm particularly interested in now is this adaptive color one. This is the brand new AI camera profile that has been developed by Adobe, where it analyzes the images and adjusts it all in one fell swoop. So here we go. We're going to select that, and it automatically opened up the exposure. It was slightly underexposed, and what we've got now is it just on the verge of where we're starting to lose detail. It's spread the histogram out, but as you may notice, all of the slider settings stay at 0. So now I actually have more room to make adjustments. I have a different starting place, which is giving me way more detail in the background, and it's lightened up the exposure. So I can actually do things like, well, let's bring the highlights down. That's going to put some color into the sky. Let's bring it all the way down. I still have bright face masks here, but I can maybe open up the whites just a little bit. I'm looking at the histogram to make sure that I'm not blowing out any highlights or any shadows. So I've turned on those little indicators there. And if you'll see, if I push the whites too far, I get that red clipping indicator. So we're just going to back this off right to the point where they just kind of almost disappear. There's still a few little red spots there. These are tiny enough that I'm not worried about it. I can still see some tonal shape in the highlights. So let's turn off my indicators there, and maybe we can just add just a little bit of black in there. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do instead add clarity. I must always do this for these costumes. I'll add clarity and a little more texture, and that brings out all the lace and the beads and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so now we've got a sort of an adjustment that has really gone pretty far from where we started, and most of the heavy lifting was done using this adaptive color profile. Now, what else do I want to do here? One of the things that kind of bugged me about this image is that this light pole is starting to interfere with the gentleman's hat here. And I'd just like to take this whole thing out to give them more of a clear headspace. And this is going to show you one of the kind of little idiosyncrasies of using these adaptive profiles. But first we're going to use generative AI and the remove tool. This thing works so well. I mean, I don't even have to zoom in here. I'm just going to go ahead and roughly outline where that blurry light pole is. And I just want to take out all of this. So again, I'm using the remove tool, which is an AI-driven sort of thing. And once I let go, I have the mask for that object that I want to remove. I come over here, click on remove, and the AI does its thing. And if I'm lucky, yes. Now, you may notice that there's this little kind of furry highlight in there. That's because, and we can kind of see now there's a little red dot under the adjustments here. So the basic panel adjustments, there's a little red dot next to it. That's because we need to update the adaptive profile. It does not automatically apply to the remove tool's re-rendering. So Adobe's recommendation is to do any of the remove things that you want to do first, or any other AI-driven image altering things, like lens blur, for instance. We want to do that before we do the adaptive color profile. But in this case, I did the adaptive color profile first, and this is telling me, oh, I should have done that first. But we can just click on this update button, and it will re-render the remove tool's rendering so that it matches the color of the adaptive color profile. Okay, and you can see that the red dot went away. All right, so the only other thing I might do is we'll put a little vignette on this under the effects. I almost always do that just to kind of give it a little more drama. And there you go. Let's see, maybe we can open up the shadows a little bit more. Okay. And, just to let you know how far we've come in this particular image, I'm going to go back to the, let's go back to our original Eterna. So that's what it looked like. We're straight out of camera, and now we're here. So I encourage you to take a look at these adaptive color profiles, because very often it will improve the image without having to do anything. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and hopefully this has provided some inspiration for your own creative explorations. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss another Phototech Tuesday. And I'll see you next time. You might consider joining us for a travel adventure. Check out our trips and in-person workshops at our website, bobbyandleesphotoadventures.com. Our next photo adventure will be our street shooting tour of the ethnically diverse neighborhoods of New York. That's June 1st through 6th. Our last photo adventure for the coming year will be an amazing once-in-a-lifetime India for beginners, a first-class luxury tour, including the Taj Mahal, a glamping tiger safari, and the Pushkar Camel Festival, and that's October 17th through 29th. Next year, we will again go to Venice for Carnival, and sign up is now live, so check out the website for more info. That's it for now. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on our next photo adventure.